Welcome to Radio Fixer's channel. Subscribe for upcoming videos. Before we get started, I want to bring to your attention that some of my subscribers contacted me and mentioned that they are not receiving a notification when I upload new videos. I'm not sure if you know it or not. As YouTube a while ago changed the process of subscription. Don't ask me why, they made it more difficult for user. So here, as you see my screen, it shows subscribe. So yours, if it's like this and the bell is not on, you're not going to get notification. So use the drop down here and select all. From here on, YouTube will send you notification when I upload new videos. Also, meanwhile you're here, I try to make this as simple as possible. You can search videos, all the videos here, or playlist. There is a categories that you can go there and see. It depends what you are interested. You're interested to fabricate part. Whatever it is, I categorize this to be easier for you to find the video. Hopefully this will help you. Alright, this is a new project. I'm waiting for the parts to arrive. I ordered it from Canada to finish that Zenith, and meanwhile I said let's work in this radio. For a friend of mine, his wife contacted me a few months ago, and I told her I would be glad to look at it to see if I can fix it or not. She mentioned she bought this around 1980s, and this is 1982. I searched online. This model number was made in 1982. They call it Sony Dream Machine Cube. You see, it's like a cube. It used to be pretty popular. As a matter of fact, they made several colors of this radio. These are what I found online, and they have silvers, red, every color you imagine. The reason it was popular because it was very unique design, the way they built this for 80s. She mentioned this radio means a lot to her because it has so many good memories since college when she purchased this radio. So let's see if I can fix it for her. I hope I can. I don't know about you, some items like this, when we have it, we were much younger. As soon as we play it or we look at it, it brings us back to those good old days. So let's check to see what's going on. First, I need to figure out to take this apart. It seems like, let's see, should be a couple of screws here, one here, so 3 is here. And there's 2 here. We're going to remove all those screws. Already took the battery out. The battery was totally dead. And let's see what we can do with this radio. This is such a nice design. Beautiful design. She mentioned when she turned on the radio, it's making some type of noise. So as you can tell, it's already hooked up. So let's turn on the radio to see what type of noise it's making. Right now, of course, I think I set it up in AM. It is set on FM. Here is AM, FM. I put it on FM. Let's check it out. Let's turn it on. You hear the noise? This noise, they call it motorboating, and it happened also to the tube radio as well. Majority of time, the capacitors on it is going bad and it's making those noise, but let's take it apart. Let's see if I can fix it or not. Of course, I don't know how to take it apart. I have to start looking around to see what's the best way to take this apart. And as you see, this radio was white. You see how it is underneath? But through the years, it starts changing the color. That's what happened with the plastic, especially white. Now it's turned into beige. There is a way you can actually reversing this to white, and so I never done it before, but there is a way you can do that. But really my focus is going to be to make sure it's working again. So I'm going to unplug it for electricity. You want to always be safe, right? Should be a couple of screws here, one here, so 3 is here, and there's 2 here. We're going to remove all those screws. Alright, this is the last screw. See these 2 top, they have a long screw. The rest of them, they're pretty small size. Now, how does this comes apart? Let's pull this out. Let's see how wide it is underneath. And this one, the same thing. So I'm going to put my... Alright, this comes out pretty easy. These things are so fragile. There is a screw here, but I don't know. Should I take it out now or not? Let's see. Okay, by pressing this, it starts coming out. Oh, interesting. You see what? It's just popped out like this. I'm trying to figure these things out. That's a power transformer. Okay, the battery is out. Let me see inside. Oh wow, look how many capacitors inside. You see that? It's a bunch of capacitors. Alright, I removed the transformer which was installed here to be able to remove this, of course, totally. So this is done. Later on I'm going to clean it up. Here was a screw right here. You have to remove this screw so this can pop out. But you have to press it from inside, you know, right underneath. Be careful you don't crack it. And gradually it's going to come out. As you notice, they put some type of tapes here, all 3 sides, and that's why it was hard, you know, to come out. So let's remove this. I released all the wires and everything. So I pulled this out a little bit. As you see right there, there is 2 wires need to be unsoldered from the speaker so this unit can come out. Alright, so let me take a quick picture of this so I know where it's gonna hook up. Alright, I spent so many hours testing every capacitor here and actually removed majority of them, test them, and the value is just perfect. The capacitor is in great condition. So the next thing I'm doing is actually testing every transistor. It has about 4 transistors. Of course, the central one, I believe that's the chip. I don't know how to test the chip, but at least the transistor I'm testing using single tracer that I made years ago. So the way I designed this, I can read IF or RF by adjusting this. Hopefully someday I'm going to put a video up there show you how I create this. Let's test each transistor. First I'm gonna the chip itself. The sound comes out. You see this is too loud, so I'm gonna adjust this so that works. See, our next one I have to adjust this. That is number 3. I call it number 3. I call it this 1, 2, 3, and 4. So the third one, you hear it pretty well. So for we're up there testing it, I press this back again. It sounds good because otherwise it's going to be too loud. For this one, I have to adjust it. That won't work. So my assumption, the chip is okay. I already marked all the transistors. Let me show you what I did. Since I don't have a schematic, so I draw something like that, and I already mark, as you see, this is the chip I was talking about, and here they're all transistors. These are 4 transistors. So I'm going over there testing one at a time, and I put notes if they have sound or if the sound is low, high. So I checked all this transistor and they all sounds they're working. And let the radio set for a few hours. As you see, it's unplugged. Now I'm going to plug it in to see if it's working or not, or it's still making those buzzing sound. So definitely I hear a station and the sound at the same time. So I'm going to hook this up to the signal tracer to see where it's failing. I need to be quick because when you set this for a while, then it comes on by itself sometime. So let's check here to see if there's any sound here. So you see this little chip, I call it, it pick up the station. How about this transistor? Yeah, this transistor is picking up as well. Let's check this one here. Another transistor here. Hear buzzing noise. Buzzing noise. Here's one of the transistors here. Let's check it. See all these three, this side, they're making those buzzing sound. But here is fine, that is fine. Which one is failing? This is close to antenna, of course. I guess this is what it is. Again, I don't have a schematic, so I'm trying to figure these things out. You see, it seems like it gets a little better. See, you're still hearing, but you can't hear the station not louder than the buzzing sound. Let me show you a couple of things I do with the transistor radio or tube radios, trying to figure out what actually the issues are. So I get a piece of wood like this, and when the radio is on, I go around and I start tapping every part like that. The purpose I'm doing that, each part include transistor, all the capacitors. The reason I'm doing that, if there is a bad solder somewhere, or the part is loose, or they call a soldering issue, immediately you know which one is causing that problem. So that's the first thing I do. And the radio should be on, of course, so keep tapping around everything, trying to make sure that everything is working well. Then I turn the radio and I do the same thing from the back. I tap each of them one by one. Again, the purpose I'm doing that to make sure all the soldering is okay. Sometimes, the issues with this type of radio, especially transistors, there should be some type of bad soldering. They call it cold soldering. Check all of them like that. Make sure that the soldering is okay. And again, majority of the problem in the transistor radios is a cold soldering issue. You see, there's so many of them here. So that's another thing I do, trying to find out if there is any issue anywhere that it needs to be handled. One other thing I created, create something like that, is to be able to jump capacitor or resistor with the same value to make sure those capacitor or resistor, they are okay or not. By jumping it, what I mean, you put the same value of the capacitor that you have on the radio, so you want to take a good note, know where the positive connections are, where the negative connections are. I suggest to get a highlighter and highlight two different colors where the capacitors are, to know where the positive and negatives are. Then you can jump it with the same value, again the capacitor. If the capacitor is bad, immediately you notice, because the radio start performing much better. Then that is causing issue. The same thing with resistor. You can also use, I'm going to put down here the value of the resistor you can use to be safe, that you can go around and touch all the resistors to make sure they are all performing. This is a good tool to create, put together yourself a couple of alligators, a couple of this for multimeter, old multimeter that I'm not using, so I use that, just put a wire It is really helpful tool and hope it can help you. Again, you're trying to troubleshoot the radio, especially I don't have a schematic. You want to, even if you have a schematic, you want to troubleshoot where the problems are. There are several steps I take to identify where the problems are, then I can actually work in those, especially with transistor radios. Tube radio, you can use the same concept as well. Hopefully this would help you. Alright, after running all those tests, I noticed a few areas the soldering might need to be touched up. Because by touching those and did some resistor and capacitor tests, all the capacitors are fine, resistors are fine. So what I'm going to do next, I'm going to get my soldering iron. You know, I put it into good high temperature, and of course the radio is not plugged in. You know, you don't want to plug it, it should be unplugged. Then I go around and touch those joints that I find issue with using those tests. I'm going to reheat them again, make sure the solders get all around the part. And so I'm going to do all around, you know, wherever I saw there might be some type of issue. Alright, let me do that, and then we're going to test the radio to see if it's performing or not. Alright, let's plug it in to see if it's going to work or not. Hopefully it will work. Spend so much time in this darn thing. I wish I had a schematic. Let's hook it up. It already hooked up to the speaker. Then we're going to plug it in. Alright, it's working. It's working. I'm going to adjust the volume. Alright, it's working. I can't believe I spent so much time on this radio. So the issue was a bad soldering joint. They call it cold soldering joint. Let me unplug this thing. Then you saw what the step we had to go through to figure this out. If you have a schematic, it makes your job much simpler. But again, this was a good thing to go through all this process, and hopefully this will help you to fix yours. Let me put everything back together, then we're going to test the radio. Alright, what I'm going to do next, use this product here to clean up the lens. It has a few scratches. Let's see how much I can remove. Add a little bit in the paper towel and go one direction like that. It's the same direction. You don't want to do this, you're just going to one direction. It's just I want to do it quickly so you can see. Then you get a clean towel, paper towel, you go over it. See, it's much better now. Then I'm going to get the car polish right here, and this is waxing it. The first one to remove the scratch, the second one is going to bring some shine out, make it smoother. Again, I'm doing here quick, you can take your time. Again, go same direction, then use different clean paper towel and go over it. Again, same direction. Okay, you see, it's much better. I was trying to set up the time to a different time, and for one reason or another it wasn't working. The radio, it works, of course. I fixed that. So of course if you put it on, the radio comes on. You hear that? The radio comes on. So of course when you set up here, you can adjust the alarm. See, it says set alarm, goes up to alarm. Then I can set up the alarm. You see the alarm is on here with no problem. You know, you set that on, you press this. See, it changed the alarm, it changed the minute. But then you have to move this to the time set, and it doesn't go higher than that. You see, it doesn't go. So finally I figured it out. You have to press this down, then it allows you to go up. You see that? Otherwise, if without pressing that down, you see it doesn't go to the next one. So you press this down, you set it here. Now you can adjust the time. See, now you can adjust the time and minute as well. Took me a little time to figure that out. If you press the sleeping time, you see it gives you 50 minutes, 60 minutes. You can adjust, set this up, so after a certain minute it goes off by itself. This radio really did a great job to design it. This is of course for the band switch, FM, AM, of course tuning, the station, volume control, and the back it has a little switch here. You see it gets bright by switching that, and then it goes dim. They really did a great job designing this, many years ago. These have become collectible because they're such a unique design, so go ahead and start purchasing them. Alright, let's turn it on to see how it's performing. This sounds just incredible. I'm glad I could fix this.
Jack's Classic Country, proud to be a...
I'm so happy I could fix this for her. I'm sure she's going to be very excited to see her radio that is working again. Folks, thank you for watching. Stay tuned. Hopefully I'm going to get the parts for the Zenith so I can finish that radio as well. I'll be honest with you, it takes so much time to make these videos, editing, uploading, and make sure there's enough information that it actually makes sense, if you want to follow. At this time, I want to take the opportunity and thank my subscribers with their uplifting comments. You always encourage me to upload more videos, since this is just a hobby of mine. Again, I appreciate you. Enjoy all these videos, and you all have an awesome day. Take care. If you're interested to see more videos like this, feel free to subscribe to my channel, and you will be notified when a new video being uploaded. You have a great day.